We're heading into a summer with a market that's still tight, but not without opportunity. If you're thinking about buying or selling a moose show right now, the May numbers reveal some key shifts you need to know about. Sales are steady, inventory is low, and homes in certain price points are moving fast, but not everything is selling overnight. In this video, I'm breaking down what's really happening in our market right now so that you can make smart, confident decisions, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or both, or even just time the market right. At the end, I'm going to share a tip that can help you choose the right price when writing an offer, or if you're selling, decide if the offer you received is actually fair or if it's just noise. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, okay, Saskatchewan monthly report, Moose Jaw market report more specifically. We're going to quickly look at what's going on in Saskatchewan, and then we're going to jump into what's happening in Moose Jaw, okay? So in Saskatchewan, here's what's going on. We got 1,400 home sales in April. This is 10% decline from last year, okay? Why do we have less sales? Everyone's trying to buy right now. Houses are selling so fast. The reason is we don't have inventory. We have supply shortages. We're down. It's an inventory shortage issue, okay? So really what's happening is we have a lot of people that want to buy a house. There's nothing for them to buy, okay? That's the biggest problem. This is plain and simple. Sorry, I'll keep going here. Inventory is still down 18% year over year. 50% below the 10-year average in all Saskatchewan, which is driving our prices up. It's supply and demand. We're low on inventory. We don't have anything to buy. Therefore, people are willing to pay more for a house. You've probably heard, if you're watching this video and you're interested in real estate, you've heard that houses are selling over list price. It's easy to sell your house. Like, you probably heard all these things, especially in Regina and Saskatoon. There's all kinds of stuff going on right now, and you're hearing about those kind of things where people are spending all this money, stuff's going over list, high offers, all this kind of thing. Okay, it is a challenging time for buyers. If you're trying to buy a house right now, it is difficult. If you got to just sell your house, fantastic. Okay, but if you got to buy a house, it's really challenging. There's nothing to buy. You might finally find a house that you like, and you might get outbid on it, and someone else might get it. Okay, and so that can be challenging. It's also really hard on buyers. For some of them, they're like, they write an offer, they're ready, they're picking out their Wayfair cart, all these things, which don't do that. And then all of a sudden it turns out someone else got the offer and they're heartbroken. You could do this time and time and time again. You find the house, you fall in love, you write the offer, you don't get it. Okay. Really, really difficult if you need to sell your house to buy. If you need to sell your house to buy, this is incredibly challenging, because if you write, hey, I'll buy your house if mine sells, and there's 4, 5, 10, 20 offers saying, hey, I'll just buy it, why would they pick your offer, right? That's really difficult for people right now. So if you're in that position, you need to connect with your mortgage specialist. You need to connect with your banker, your mortgage broker. If you don't have one, I'd be happy to recommend a couple that we work closely with that are good. But you need to connect with someone. You need to connect with someone that is going to meet your deadlines, okay? In real estate, there's deadlines. If you don't meet a deadline sometimes, or your bank doesn't meet that deadline, that could mean that seller is moving on to the next person. It is really important in this market. You work with a banker or a mortgage broker that can meet your deadlines, that isn't going to be asking you for extensions, because if you need an extension, that is at the will of the seller. And if the seller doesn't want to give you an extension, you might lose out on that. That's heartbreaking. Okay, so that's one thing to be aware of. But yeah, it's really hard if you got to sell to buy. Make a plan, connect with your banker, and get a plan set up so that when you find the house you love, you're ready to go. You can pull the trigger, you can buy the house. You don't want to be scrambling at the end. Okay, tough time for buyers, tough time for sellers, people that need to sell to buy. That's hard. Okay, total residential benchmark price right now. We're looking at all Saskatchewan. We're up 6.5% since last year, $360,500 for the average, the typical house in Saskatchewan. That's what we call a benchmark. A benchmark home is the typical home that sells in Saskatchewan. So we look at what is the typical number of bedrooms, typical numbers of bathrooms, typical number of square footage, all these things, and they create a benchmark. That way, if you have a house sell for, 3.2 million, it doesn't shoot up the data for that month, and then we don't get inconsistent data. When we're looking at benchmark pricing, we can have consistent data that's saying, what does the typical home sell for? Not these outliers that are, way up in price or way low in price. Okay. You sell a house that's in unlivable condition. Well, it's not going to sell. It's going to sell significantly below this value. So we don't want those numbers to throw it off. That's why we look at the benchmark price. Gives us a really good idea of what our homes are selling for in Saskatchewan. We can still look at that average data. One more thing talking about Saskatchewan I want to get into here before we move on to just Moose Jaw is this. This is cool. You can see what's the benchmark price in Saskatoon, $422,000. Okay, what's the benchmark price in Regina, $335,000. So you can see Saskatoon typically is a more expensive place to live based on the typical home than Regina. Regina is more expensive to live in than Moose Jaw. Okay, and I won't get into all these other ones. You can pause the video. You can look at these specific to where you live. But when we look at Moose Jaw, we're still a pretty affordable spot. 270,000 is what the average home goes for in Moose Jaw, but that's up 10% right here, 10% over the year, which is not ideal. Okay, so let's look at Moose Jaw. Here we got Moose Jaw. What's happening in Moose Jaw lately? We got 58 sales this month, okay, for April 2025. We have 75 new listings. We have 118 total inventory, okay? We have 2 months of supply. This is actually down. Last month when we looked at this, it was 2.29. Our month of supply is down since last time we did this video. So our inventory is continuing to decline, which isn't ideal. Our benchmark price, $270,900. That's the typical home. Here's the benchmark criteria for Moose Jaw. It should be here. Here it is. This is what they make. This is a benchmark home in Moose Jaw. So you can pause this and look. Okay, 1,100 square feet, 3 beds, 3 baths, whatever. You can look at it. Okay, here it is. $279,900 is that's how they do it. That's how they make a benchmark home. Okay. So anyways, our benchmark's up 10% on the year. If you want to buy the average home in Moose Jaw last year, you said, oh, wait till the rates come down. Now you want to go, you're up 10.9%. Okay, so that's money in the seller's pocket, so to speak. Look at this. This is what types of home are selling in homes in Moose Jaw. We got detached in the dark blue. This is typically what we see selling in Moose Jaw. Yeah, we got a couple apartments, we got a mobile, we got some, semi-detached. There's some of that stuff in here, but really at the end of the day, Moose Jaw has a lot of detached homes. Average buyer is looking at a detached home. So sales 58 this month again. We're down 9.4%. New listings 75. Inventory 118. Month of supply down. Okay, but the other thing you guys want to know is if I'm going to buy a home or I'm going to sell a home, how long does it sit? Buyers want to know, how long can this house sit on the market before I can start kicking them in the shins? How low can I aim? What can I offer? Okay, houses on the market 1 to 2 days, you can't offer low because there's going to be people offering higher. Houses on the market, 60, 90, 100 days, well, maybe you could offer them a little lower. They might be open to taking it, but you also don't know what people's situations are. You have to talk directly to that seller and see what they say, or have your agent, write an offer or whatever to see where that person's at. That's that. But the other thing you guys are interested in is what is the days on market? Because if you're going to sell your house, how long is your house going to sit for? If you're going to buy a house, like I said, where can you offer? And right now we're seeing in Moose Jaw, the average home, 48 days on market is kind of the typical timeline for a home to sell. Now that doesn't mean that homes aren't selling within a couple days. There's lots of homes selling within a couple days. It's not uncommon for us to check. We say, hey, there's a new listing, looks like a good one. And then all of a sudden, conditional sale. You're seeing homes sell within the same day. That is not uncommon. That is not unheard of. So don't think you got 48 days to sit. If there's a house that pops up and you like it, you should go see it right away. I always tell my buyers, if you like this house, we need to go see it the day it comes out. If you can. If you can't, we need to go the next day. You don't have time to wait till the weekend. That's not the type of market we're in. Stuff is selling so fast. Okay. So yeah, there's more data here. You could pause the video, you can read through it, but most of it is up top on the top page we just talked about. Okay, you can see here our benchmark price is increasing as our supply decreases, right? You can see we've been low supply for the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever. And our benchmark price has been increasing, but now we're at the top. We're at the highest benchmark price we've seen in a while, which isn't great, but it just is what it is. Okay. You can look at this. I'm not going to talk about that one or this one. You can go through it. If you're interested, there's our benchmark pricing, and you can kind of cruise through this data. If you want this whole report, let me know. I'll send you this report. You can read through it. You can crunch your numbers. You can do your analysis, all that good stuff. Okay. So let's look at Moose Jaw neighborhood specifically. Before we do, if you're liking this video, you're interested in this, you should please subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, give me a like. That just helps promote it. But if you're interested in this, subscribe, because we're doing monthly updates on this all the time. So please drop a subscription down below. Okay. Let's look at Moose Jaw. We got neighborhoods. Moose Jaw neighborhoods. Okay, for those of you that are not familiar with Moose Jaw, these are kind of how our neighborhoods break down. Central, so this is Main Street over to 9th. Hillcrest, Main Street to the east. People call us East End. You're an East Ender. Okay. And then we got Palliser, which is from 9th Oval. And then above that, we kind of have, this is Sunningdale VLA. It includes Iron Bridge. It includes West Park. These are both new developments. This is a higher price point new development. Sunningdale is a, neighborhood probably built like 1980 to 2010-ish, give or take. So that's kind of that neighborhood. And then we have VLA, which is our Veterans Land Act home. So those are those homes with the big lots. Okay. So there's lots of great homes there, big lots, all that kind of stuff. There's multi-million-dollar homes in there. maybe I shouldn't say multi. There's $1 million homes in there, okay? So this price point can really change depending on what sells, because it's just kind of like there's so many different areas in here. Then we have South Hill. This is south of the tracks, you know, over here. West Mount Elsom, it's called technically. You guys in Moose Jaw call it South Hill. And then we have West Heath. This is kind of our new development, new schools going in over there. Moose Jaw opened up 52 new lots over there if you want to build a house. There's lots going over there right now. So it's still South Hill. People call it South Hill, but it's called West Heath technically. So when we look at these, that's kind of the breakdown for that. Okay, so first let's look at Central. Central's right here, Main Street over to 9th Avenue West. Okay, so what do we got going on in Central? We got 7 sales. We have 10 new listings. We have 25 homes for sale or for inventory. We got 3.57 months of supply. That means if you're looking at selling in Central, your house might sit a little longer than the average neighborhood. If you talk to your buddy that just sold his house in Palliser, your house in Central might sit longer than your buddy that just sold in Palliser. Okay, we're up. Again, this is going to be the trend. Homes are up, price is up. Average benchmark, average home in Central neighborhood sells for $206,400, 6.1%. Sometimes the reasons that these homes sell or sit longer and they, you know, the price is maybe a little lower, they're typically older homes. Moose Jaw kind of built, you know, Main Street out. And so lots of these homes are early 1900s. You know, the way we did a concrete basement in the 1900s is really different than the way we do them in 2025. So that, you know, they've been there for 125 years, some of those basements, but there's some questions and sometimes people get concerned, and that causes these homes to sometimes sit a little longer. Okay, again, when we look at this, let's look at our days on market. We're looking at 45 days on market for April 2025. Okay, benchmark price 206,400. Those are kind of the big, you can look at this data. I know that this and this is what you guys care about. Okay, there's the attributes. They don't have any attributes, don't know why, but that's what they're saying, benchmark home. Okay, Hillcrest. So Hillcrest is East End right here. Everything Main Street East. That's Hillcrest neighborhood. So let's look at what's going on in Hillcrest. We got 12 sales, 11 new listings. We have 18 homes for sale. We have 1.5 months of supply. A little bit less supply here. Homes are up. Average home in Hillcrest selling for $173,500, or sorry, benchmark home in Hillcrest selling for $173,500. That's up 7.8% from last year. Okay, we got a little bit more of a mix here in Hillcrest. Okay, still primarily detached. Moving on, again, back to this, average days on market, a little bit longer, 53 days, average benchmark price, 173. Okay, so if you're looking at selling in Hillcrest, on average, if you have an average home, it'll sell for around 173 and it'll sit on the market for 50 days. If you have above average home, nicely renovated, got a lot of good features, we might sell quicker and it might sell for more money. Okay, if you have a below average home, it's in bad condition, it needs a roof, it needs foundation work, all this stuff, we'll probably sell below that. That's what we're looking at, Hillcrest neighborhood. Okay, yeah, detached benchmark 151. That's just for detached. Okay. Palliser, hot neighborhood. People love Palliser. Okay, Palliser's over here. This is really popular neighborhood just because it's close to amenities. It's got some great schools, all these kind of things. Lots of reasons people want to be in Palliser. It's a popular neighborhood, very popular neighborhood. It's a little bit newer, kind of built, you know, 1960s to 1975, 80s, somewhere in there, depending on the house. We got 11 sales in Palliser. We have 8 new listings in Palliser, 13 homes for sale, and we have 1.8 months of supply. A lot less months of supply in Palliser. Palliser is a more competitive market. You want to get into Palliser, might be a little tougher. Not tougher, it's just, you know, there's less inventory, there's more competition. And you can see this, our average benchmark price is higher. Average home, the typical home in Palliser, selling for $300K, okay, up from last year, 12.2%. So if you were waiting from last year to get into Palliser, you're paying 12% more. Okay, again, lots of detached homes. Here's our April 25, lots of detached. Okay, but yeah, Palliser, let's see, days on market, still, like I said, 44 days and average price 308. Okay, so that's what you're looking at, or sorry, benchmark price. That's what you're looking at in Palliser. That's the kind of money you're looking at spending for the typical home. Obviously, get something, say you got like a fully renovated house with a 2-car, it's gonna be higher than this. Okay, we see homes, you know, closer to that 400 mark in Palliser. We see homes below that. There's, you know, recent sold data of homes that have sold for closer to $200,000 mark. That's where when we look at the typical home, we get this 300K mark. So that's what we're looking at for the average home in Palliser. Okay, let's look at Sunnydale VLA. Sunnydale VLA, like I said, a little bit more of a mixed neighborhood. You have $1 million homes selling here in Iron Bridge. You have, you know, depending, there's a little bit of a mix in VLA. You know, I know that there's this is more new construction. New construction, West Park, we're looking probably 500 plus. Okay, depending, what features, square footage, all kinds of things, but 500 is probably a low side on West Park. Sunningdale is kind of over here. So this is all combined to get this data, but we do have most of our homes selling in Sunningdale. Okay, so 8 sales. Again, lots of detached, couple apartments. Okay, up 8%. If you wanted to move to sorry, losing my mind. If you want to move to Sunningdale, you're looking at 8% on the year. Average home sells for $481,000. So you're getting into a higher budget. It's a little bit more expensive to get into Sunningdale. So people, this is kind of what your budget's looking like. 8 sales, 21 new listings, 31 homes for sale, 3.88 months of supply. So why do they sit longer? Typically they just sit longer. It's a little bit less competitive. There's not a lot of home buyers right now in this price point. So there's just less competition right now. So it is a little bit easier if you have this money to move into this neighborhood. Now that doesn't mean if the perfect house comes up that you're not going to be a multiple offer situation. If this lovely house comes up in Sunningdale, it checks all the boxes, it's nicely renovated, there's going to be multiple offers on it. There's going to be tons of showings on it for sure. Okay, but if you have an average home in Sunningdale, it's as it was built in 1980. It looks exactly the same. We're rocking that brown. We got the orange, whatever it looked like. Then your average, it might sit. What are we looking at for Sunningdale? 35 days on market. Sorry, I'll circle it. 35 days on market. Average home, 481.7. So that's what we're looking at in Sunningdale. Okay, and then when we do look here, we're looking at detached home, average detached home. So you can see here, we got 3 beds. We have a double attached garage compared to Palliser, where it's a single. We have 1,400 square feet. So you're getting a bigger house. You're getting a newer house, average build 1993. You're paying more money. Makes sense. Bigger, newer, more money. Yeah, the math adds up, but that's what you're looking at to get into Sunningdale. Then we got Westmount for our South Hill people. Some people don't like South Hill. Some people do. A little controversial over there, but great neighborhood. Really good, really nice sandy location. Home inspectors love it. That's what I hear. Anyways, sales. Meaning that's good. That's good. Sales, we got 20 sales. We got 23 new listings. We have 29 homes for sale. We have 1.45 months of supply. Okay, a little bit more competitive. Average home selling for $235. Okay, 11% up on last year. If you bought last year, and you save yourself 11% if you bought last year. Okay, again, lots of detached homes. Okay, average home sitting on the market. We're still kind of in the same range. 54 days. Average home selling for $235. That's all good. Okay. When we look at detached, here's the criteria. 1 less bedroom. Okay, about 1,000 square feet. 1967 built, a little older construction. We are seeing a lot more new construction go up over there, which is exciting, especially with those new lots and everything else. But yeah, that's kind of what you're looking at for neighborhoods in Moose Jaw. Now, one more statistic that I really like to look at when I look at data and when I, my buyers say, what should we offer? How do we pick an offer? Whatever. I think this is really helpful. Or if someone writes an offer, well, where do we land? Did they write us a fair offer? When we look at, whoops, I want the chart. Okay, when we look at from April, this month of April, what did they list the home at? What did it sell for? Okay, average home, this is 59 listings of last month. Okay, average home sold for 97.2% of list price. So whatever they listed at, if you want to buy that house, you're probably paying pretty close to that list price. Like I said, we're seeing homes go over list price. We're seeing homes go under, but that typical home, if it comes out and you're buying it within 10 days, you're probably paying 97% or you're probably paying list price. There's not a lot, people aren't getting like a lot of deals right now. If you're getting a deal, you're probably taking on someone's project or something else. There's work to do, all these different kind of things. On average, you have a move-in ready home that's in good condition is selling for 97% of list. So that's our May report, or looking at last month's data from April. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you're interested in content like this, again, please subscribe, give me a comment down below, and give me a like on this video, and I'll see you in the next one.